German beer. These are 9 German lagers, and today I will challenge myself to try to guess each and every one blindly, not with a blindfold, but I have a friend that will pour the beer for me, so I don't know which. Want to say hello?
Hello.
So I don't know which beer is in which glass, of course. So we have 4 classic Munich Helles, 2 very bready and bitter beers, Bitburger and Radeberger, the very dry and bitter Jever, Krombacher, which is in a niche itself, in my opinion, and then this beer, Dab, which I know isn't very common abroad. It's kind of the prototype for the Swedish macro lager. And I know I've had some suggestions from you about beers I should blind test, but many of them aren't available in Sweden or very hard to get. And I wanted to practice a bit before this test, so I think I can nail this one. So now I'm going to walk away and Manuel will pour the beers, and then I'll be back. Oh, wow. As you can see, pretty much the same color on all of them. Maybe number 2 is it a bit darker? I still don't have any idea which is which, just by looking at them. But okay, let's make just the first guess here. So start with number 1. I can change my mind, but let's see. Smells pretty dry, a little bit of apple, pear, almost white grape. So my first thought was Krombacher, but maybe it is too bready. Let's see. Prost, cheers, skål. I don't think it's Krombacher anymore. Very bready aftertaste and not particularly bitter. A bit of citrus note as well. Okay, since this is the very first beer, I don't have anything to compare with. But if I have to guess, I think it is Hofbräu. But as I said, I can change my mind after a while and start to move them around. A sip of water. And then number 2, the darker one. Kind of subdued aroma. I don't get much at all, but it's super clean. So maybe this is Krombacher. Let's see if I can get a little bit of foam. Could be anything. Prost. A little bit of bread in the aftertaste, but very light, also low bitterness. Manuel is munching on the snacks we will eat later. I'm not allowed to eat anything until I'm done. And it looks so delicious. Yeah, look at this. Okay, but what is it? I think I might know. It is a bit drier than I remembered, but my first guess would still be Spaten. But Manuel is checking his paper. I know it's low bitterness and much of the lemon, but from my memory, I thought it should be more kind of lemonade as well. It was maybe too dry, so we'll see if I change my mind later. Number 3. Also a lot of citrus. Maybe this time, third time is the charm, right? It could be Krombacher. Because I get those white grape, dry pear almost kind of aroma. Let's dig in. Skål. No. Also a more bready finish than Krombacher. Oh man, this is harder than I thought it would be. I think it's one of the Helles. And one of the two beers that are hardest to distinguish, in my opinion, is Spaten and Paulaner. They have both low bitterness, low on the breadiness, lots of lemon, but Paulaner is a little more malty and a little bit less of the lemon. So this is my first guess, at least. Number 4. They smell the same. But here again, the lemon is dominating. Let's dig in. Cheers. A little bit more bitterness, finally. But not in the Bitburger or Jever level, I think. I thought it could be Dab, but it's too dry. And maybe a bit too bitter as well. It could actually be one more Helles, but it has a bit more spice, and when I smell it, it's a little bit like some sort of cleaning liquid. And if you've seen my other video about Löwenbräu, you know that's the aroma I got that time. So that will be my first guess. Man, this was hard. Okay, number 5. Finally, another type of aroma. It's more round, more almost cookie, sweet malt of some kind. Or honey, actually. I like this aroma. Let's see what it tastes like. Prost. Dry and fairly bitter. I thought I would pin these down a lot quicker. This is super hard. This could be Jever. From my memory, I thought it would be even more bitter, but I think that will have to be my first guess. Jever it is. Number 6. This is also pretty spicy. Like the Löwenbräu is in the taste, but maybe it wasn't spicy in the actual aroma. Yeah, let's have a sip. Skål. Oh no, another one with a lot of citrus note and less of the bitterness. What have we left? I thought I would recognize the Krombacher. Maybe these beers actually have less character than I remembered. But I will go with the Krombacher for now and move on to number 7. Krombacher. A little rounder again, more sweet malty. It's very malty. Now, I hope this is what I think it is. Yeah, lots of dry cookies without sugar, you know. Let's have a taste. Cheers. Okay, this is similar to Norrlands Guld, if you remember. The most sold beer in Sweden. The breadiness is pretty sweet. There is lemon citrus notes, but it's not peaking as is in some of these beers. So if the stories are true, that this beer inspired Swedish macro lagers, this is the Dab. Number 8. Fresh. And now I get that cleaning liquid again. Could this be the Löwenbräu? Let's have a taste. Cheers. No, it's way too bready and bitter for the Löwenbräu. This is either the Bitburger or the Radeberger. Two beers that are very easy to confuse. Yeah, I'll go for Bitburger as my first guess, which means the last one has to be Radeberger, if the other guesses are not all messed up. I get mostly lemon. It feels like the breadiness is too low for a Radeberger, but maybe the aroma is telling another story. It has something sweet as well. Let's try it out. Prost. Yeah, I think actually it is. A lovely breadiness in the finish, and it's not as bitter as the Bitburger, but it definitely has a bitter finish. So hopefully that confirms this actually is Radeberger. Okay, do I want to change anything? Maybe I'll go through them one more time. Is this really Hofbräu? I think it is, because it's more sweet and fruity in the beginning. And then the finish is pretty compact, bready, and much drier. And that is what I associate with the Hofbräu. So I think I'll stand with my guess here. How about the Spaten? Is it really Spaten? The only thing is it too dry? But then again, none of the other beers I've tried, I've got this feeling of, okay, now I get the lemonade, now I get the special Spaten taste. So I think this is the closest one. And low bitterness, as with all the Helles, and a little bit of breadiness in the late aftertaste. I think it is Spaten. The next one I guessed Paulaner, and I've actually practiced drinking Spaten and Paulaner one-on-one, just to try to separate them. They are one of the hardest challenges, I think. Did my practicing matter? Is it too spicy? Is this actually Löwenbräu? I think this is too spicy and a bit too bitter for Paulaner. I think I'll actually switch places. I mean, it's not bitter for a German Pilsner, but for a Munich Helles, it is spicy and bitter. But is this then Paulaner? It also smells like cleaning liquid. I don't know what it is. It's something from my childhood, and no one else will understand that reference. Yeah, I think I made the right call there. It's not as spicy. It's more, what's the English word? Bland. Maybe that's offensive to some people, but the Paulaner Helles is pretty bland. Yeah, hopefully I made the right call there. Okay, Jever. Now we're going to the bitter territory. The strange thing is, it smells so round and sweet, and I'm not sure Jever does that. Sweet and bready in the aroma, but in the taste, is it bitter enough for Jever? Yeah, I think it is. It's also dry, which fits the description. Yeah, I'll let the Jever stand still and move on to maybe the Krombacher. Now I actually get more of that kind of cider character that I associate with the Krombacher, but will I find it in the taste as well? Yeah, there might be some sort of dry apple or pear there. And although it's called Krombacher Pils, it's not as bitter as other German Pilsners can be. So I think that's the right choice still. But is number 7, DAB, the Dortmunder Actien-Brauerei? Perfect pronunciation. And the Dortmund style was, of course, a style which Germany exported beer throughout the world. And especially Sweden, we embraced this style. And I know in the US and the UK, it is more and more rare to find these kinds of beers. But have I guessed correctly? That's the question. Again, not much in the aroma, just like Swedish macro lagers. And the taste, it's very bready. And I'm thinking, oh, have I confused this with the Hofbräu? But the Hofbräu, I think, is drier in the finish. It has kind of a dry breadiness, whilst this one is sweeter. Just to be sure, I need to compare with what I thought was the Hofbräu. Is this too sour and dry to be Hofbräu? That's what I'm thinking right now. Is this actually the Hofbräu? But in that case, which is the dab? I get so much lemon notes all of a sudden, but the compact breadiness without the bitterness, it could only be Hofbräu, or I can't really remember the dab. I should have compared these two side by side. Let's try this one more time. I don't think this is Hofbräu. Let's actually put Hofbräu here. But I don't think that means this is dab. Or is it? Let's go through the last two as well. Is this Bitburger? It is definitely bitter, and it has this kind of heavy, wet breadiness. Yeah, I think this is correct. And is number 9 Radeberger? Yeah, it has to be. The breadiness is a bit lower, but it's still bitter. Not as bitter as Bitburger, but in the level of Jever, kind of. Now the beers I'm most uncertain of is the dab, which I have practiced the least on, and also Krombacher, which I practiced a lot on, but I still don't really know how it tastes. Let's see if we can nail this number 6. Yeah, I still think that is Krombacher, but is number 1 dab? I still think it has too much lemon notes. In my mind it's sweeter, a bit more malt and less of the lemon. But I don't know what to switch out now. Then maybe let's give the Paulaner another go. I said this was the most bland of them. What if it's not Paulaner? Maybe this is the dab, because Swedish macro lagers are pretty bland. No, I don't think I can switch anything out anymore. This has to be my final guesses. I thought I could nail this, but I'm so uncertain right now. So maybe, Manuel, if you can pour the beers that are correct in the correct glass. Okay, Löwenbräu, I apparently guessed correctly. That's a relief, at least. Did I change my mind about Löwenbräu? Yeah, I think I did. Alright, number 5, Jever, was correct. And number 7 was in fact Hofbräu. Wonderful. That was also a beer I changed my mind late, right? Now what about number 8 and 9? Va? Nah. So, as it stands, I only guessed 3 of the beers correctly. And Bitburger and Radeberger were swapped out. So now I'm really curious what mistakes I made. So which beer was number 1? So number 1 was Krombacher, which I guessed the first time, right?
Yes.
Yes, I did. But then I changed my mind. Okay, so how does Krombacher taste? It tastes like Krombacher. So when you know what it is, it's easy. Number 2. Alright, so number 2 was dab. How could I get that so wrong? I don't think this tastes like a Swedish macro lager. It has more lemon citrus note than most of the Swedish beers. It has the breadiness, though. Number 3, I guessed correctly, but what was number 4? Alright, so number 4 was Spaten, the beer I accused of being bland. I actually made my review on Untapped and wrote that I loved this beer. What am I doing? Now that I know what it is, I really enjoy it. Alright, so number 5 I guessed correctly, that was Jever. But what was number 6? I thought it was Krombacher, like many other beers. Paulaner. How could I confuse Paulaner with Krombacher? Well, it isn't as easy as it looks. Have you tried this? Alright, number 7 I guessed Hofbräu correctly, but number 8 wasn't Bitburger, it was in fact Radeberger. And this is pretty embarrassing, because I was so sure of the higher breadiness. Definitely was Bitburger breadiness. And I always thought Radeberger is similar to Bitburger, but the breadiness is is lower. Yeah, so the number 9 is then of course Bitburger. I need to try this one more time. Bready, bitter. It's so strange. I would still guess the opposite here. But now I'm going to cry myself to bed. But first I will enjoy some tapas, some cheeses and some sausages, olives. And check out my other German videos in this playlist. And remember, drink responsibly!